Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Patrick Sullivan. I'm the President and CEO of the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to today's Navigating COVID-19 webinar series with our experts from CUA. The federal and provincial government have been announcing new funding programs and resources almost daily since the shutdown began. I think last week there were announcements on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and yesterday there were additional announcements, as well as the unveiling yesterday of the wage subsidy calculator, which is now available on the federal government's COVID-19 resource page, and will soon be available on the Halifax Chamber webpage within about 5 or 10 minutes. But it can definitely be hard to keep track of everything. It's also difficult to decipher what your business might actually be eligible for and how to apply. Luckily, we have CUA, a well-known and well-respected financial institution with a strong background in helping their clients get what they need. On our end, the Halifax Chamber continues to update our COVID-19 resource page daily as new information and funding becomes available. You can check out halifaxchamber.com/COVID-19 for information on government funding at all levels, updates from the municipality, how to keep supporting local, B2B resources, and more. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speakers today. We have Shaun MacIntyre, who's the Director of Commercial Services at CUA, who has 25 years of experience in commercial banking and specializes in franchise banking, international trade, knowledge-based industries, and real estate financing.
Good morning.
There's Shaun. Oh, there's Shaun. Okay. And secondly, we have Brad Thompson, Commercial Account Manager at CUA, who has nearly 2 decades in the banking industry with skills in account and cash management, commercial real estate, commercial deposit management, and other small business and commercial lending. Shaun and Brad are here today to review the latest details from provincial and federal programs being made available to business and community organizations in response to COVID-19. We will have time to answer questions at the end, so feel free to ask your questions. You'll see a Q&A box underneath the slide presentation. You can click on that Q&A box and we will address them as time allows. If you are commenting in the chat box, a reminder, there is an option to address your message to panelists, which will only be seen by Shaun, Brad, and myself, or to panelists and all attendees, which everyone will be able to see. And I would encourage you to use that one. If you have a question, unless you're using your company name, it might be of interest to everyone what your question is. So good morning, Shaun and Brad, and thank you both for joining us. I'll turn it over to you. I don't see Brad's picture yet, but I'll turn it over to both of you.
Okay, thank you, Patrick, and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining our call today. I'm not sure why you're not seeing my picture, Patrick.
I see you now.
Oh, good. Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, again, thanks for joining us here. We're going to take some time here this morning to discuss some of the programs that are currently out there and available. Full disclosure here, some of them are still being finalized and approved, so we've made adjustments as needed. And as Patrick had said, there are changes and announcements still coming out daily. So keep that in mind. That some of these things could potentially change or look a little bit different when they're actually rolled out. But with that in mind, I think it's good to kind of go through what's out there, what's available now, and answer the questions you have based on what we know. Thanks again for joining us. Again, like Patrick mentioned, Shaun and I both work on the commercial banking team at CUA, Credit Union Atlantic. We work together to serve a wide range of different types of commercial clients. Obviously this is a time of financial uncertainty for a lot of business owners, and we certainly understand that and want to do what we can to provide help, guidance, and take advantage of any programs that are available.
Brad, sorry, just to interrupt you for a second. You sounded really clear when you leaned in there a bit, so I'm going to get you to continue to lean in if you don't mind.
Sure, Patrick, no problem.
Much better.
Okay, all right. Yeah, please interrupt me if I go quiet again. So, Sandra, how do I change the slides here?
Just click on the slide, and then you can press down.
Okay, I got it. Okay, great. So we're going to look at first some provincial government programs and some federal government programs that are available. And there's also some specific things with CUA that we'll address, and then we'll have time after for questions. If you can please hold the questions till the end, I think it's best to get through the.
Yeah, Brad, sorry, you're fading out again. Why don't you pull out your mic, pull out that headset, get rid of it, because we did try that earlier. Just pull that out, unplug it, and then just lean in.
Okay, I'll try to speak clearly here.
Oh gosh. Now we've lost you completely, actually. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay. I'm going to try not to move.
Okay, good.
Be directly at my computer here. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of the presentation here. So, whoops, go back. There we go. So I'll point out as well that some of these programs are administered through credit union.
Brad, sorry, I know I keep interrupting you. I'm really sorry. So you seem to be leaning to your right. When you lean to your right, it's perfect. When you lean back this way, it's bad. So look a little bit towards that screen there and lean in.
Like this?
Perfect.
Okay. So what I was saying was these programs are administered through CUA and through financial institutions, banks. Actually, you're making a face like you.
No, it's just, that's okay. Keep trying.
Okay. Some of these are also, grant types of programs. So, the goal here is to sort of provide the information that's available. Some of this stuff is not going to be administered through CUA or your financial institution. It will be done directly through the government or through another means. Just keep that in mind. Loan programs that are rolling out are the ones that are going to be administered through your financial institution. So this is our small business loan guarantee program. I will mention right off the bat, there is a COVID relief program that where the details are still being finalized by the provincial government, and right now they're subject to change. We are us as well as all credit unions will be offering this type of program when it's rolled out. But right now, it's the details seem to be finalized, but we've kind of decided last minute here where it hasn't been formally approved that we.
Brad, sorry, we're losing you again. Can you move to your right? Other way. Okay, that way. Yes. Perfect. Now try it.
I don't even know where the mic is on my
This is where it is. Okay. Yeah.
You don't need my picture though.
We don't need your picture. That's okay.
Okay. So right now, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the ongoing loan guarantee program that is currently offered through the province. So right now, any new applications for that program, the principal and interest payments are being deferred until June 30th for either existing participants of the program or anyone for any new programs. They're automatically deferred until June 30th. Again, that could change. That could be extended. We don't know, but right now that's sort of what the offer is. So the provincial government provides a lending program through all credit unions in Nova Scotia. It's offered through the provincial government. It allows businesses to borrow up to $500,000. Generally, the program is for equipment, leaseholds, ongoing working capital financing needs, and it can be done either through a term loan or a line of credit. So this is a full-based lending application. This is not just for COVID relief. This would be for any type of business financing needs that you're looking at. So there may be or there will be different information that would be required for this type of program than there would for any type of a COVID relief type of program. If it's an existing business, then 3 years of financial statements would be required. If it's a new business or a startup, then we look at 2 to 3 years of projected income. So again, that program is ongoing and available and administered through all provincially regulated institutions. details of the specific COVID relief program, and you don't have to be an existing member of a credit union to apply for this program. It's available to anybody that wants to become a member of a credit union. So you can apply directly through any credit union in Nova Scotia. So the next program is called the Small Business Impact Grant Program. This is specifically in regards to into COVID relief. So $20 million was available for small businesses, nonprofits, and charities and social enterprises who've had to close their operations because of that public health guidance. It's a one-time grant equal to 15% of revenue from either April 2019 or February 2020, up to a maximum of $5,000. There's no restrictions on what the funds can be used for. And I will note there that the deadline is fast approaching for that. So if you haven't looked into this particular grant, it'd be good to do that this week. There is a section here, and I think we're going to make the deck available to everybody afterwards for these links. But there's specific links there for questions and how to apply there on the bottom. And all of our screens should have a how to access or how to find out more information type of screen where you can go and click on it directly. Still hearing me okay out there? I assume?
It was perfect until you just moved in and said, can we still hear you? So stay where you were.
Okay. The next program, the Workers Emergency Bridge Fund. So this would be for, again, these are provincial programs. This is a one-time payment of $1,000 for any Nova Scotian that was laid off or out of work after March 6th due to the COVID-19 crisis. Eligibility includes individuals who don't qualify for EI, and their earnings are between $5,000 and $34,000 as of last year. So it can be combined with the CERB. A lot of acronyms being used right now as well. So I had to write it out here on the screens, but if you hear something, sometimes the acronym might actually be more familiar than the actual title of the program. But if anything gets confusing, just let me know. But the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, and it counts as taxable income. So there's a specific website set up there. Applications for this program are actually being done through Red Cross. So there's information on that website above on how you can actually go and apply and get information on that program. Okay, provincial. So these are just some additional measures that the provincial government has agreed and taken on. So deferred payments are available until June 30th on all government loans. That includes the Nova Scotia loan guarantee program that I shared in the first slides there. Also Farm Loan Board, Fisheries and Aquaculture Loan Boards, Job Fund, Nova Scotia Business Fund, Municipal Finance Corp, and Housing Nova Scotia are all eligible for deferred payments through their lending products. So if you have any of those, reach out to the government to get information on deferring payments. Deferrals of business fees. So payments on a number of provincial programs and services have been deferred until after June 30th. Including workers' compensation premiums, permit registration, renewals, and service fees. And the commercial rent deferral program. So this is an encouragement program for all landlords, commercial tenants, to defer rent payments from their commercial tenants for 3 months and spread the deferred rent amount over the lease term. So to confirm, it's not a waiver of rent. It's a capitalization of rent over the remaining term. And there's information on how that's done right on the and the benefits right on the link there that's provided. Okay, we're going to switch into the federal program here. So the CEBA, the Canadian Emergency Business Account, this is for eligible businesses that can receive up to $40,000 in a loan for immediate financial support. So this can be used to cover anything related to the business, operating expenses, payroll, other non-deferrable expenses, basically to allow the business to sustain during this crisis. So this one is, it appears, again, because the provincial one hasn't, this one will be quite a bit different. There's a payment deferral on the provincial program from what we understand, but this one will actually be interest-free up until December 31st, 2020. And at that point, if you pay off $30,000, you're eligible for complete forgiveness of the remaining $10,000 of the program. So it's a nice benefit. This one here certainly, this program here certainly, I think would be more attractive to a lot of, or would be attractive to a lot of business owners. Especially to give you extra money during this time, but also because of the long-term benefits, where the program is going to be interest waived up until a certain point. After December 31st, if the loan is not paid out, then it would be converted to a repayable loan, where interest-only payments will be required, but the full balance would not be due for another 3 years. So one important thing to note about this one is they are controlling the amount of applications that are going through. So you have to apply with the financial institution that holds your primary business operating account. So this is not a program to look at switching institutions. This would be a program to discuss directly with your bank that you currently deal with. And just full disclosure, the credit unions weren't included in the initial launch of this program, so we had to fight to be involved to be able to offer it to our members. So it's rolled out through all of the major banks, and some of the credit unions have been piloted. So they've rolled out the program. We're waiting on our final sort of confirmation to roll it out. And I know me personally, I've got a list of clients that are looking forward to hearing from you when we officially go live with that application. But the key point there, discuss this with your financial institution that you have your primary business operating account as of March 1st, 2020, to get more information on how to apply and how to qualify. So the next one is the Canada's Business Credit Availability Program. So this is a program administered directly through EDC, Export Development Canada, and BDC, the Business Development Bank of Canada. So this program is designed to provide businesses with direct lending at market rates to businesses with viable business models whose access to financing would otherwise be restricted. So this is called the BCAP. There's a link there for specific information on it. I like to think of this is a good program to use or stack on, in addition to the CEBA. So the CEBA is going to help a lot of businesses, but some businesses are going to require, potentially require more. So this one would be, if you're looking for more options, I encourage you to reach out to BDC to discuss this in more detail to see if this is right for you. Okay, the wage subsidy program. Again, this is one that's kind of been, I guess, a little bit of a moving target, but the goal here or the program here is to help businesses keep and retain workers by providing a 75% wage subsidy up to a weekly maximum for eligible employers for up to 12 weeks. The 10% temporary wage subsidy is a 3-month measure that will allow eligible employees to reduce the amount of payroll deductions required to be remitted to the CRA, equal to 10% of the remuneration of the employer's pay from March 18th to June 19th, to a maximum of $1,375 for each eligible employee, and a maximum of $25,000 per employer. The Canada Summer Jobs Program. Program employers can receive up to 100% of minimum hourly wage for each employee, extend the end date of employment to February 28th, 2021, and hire additional staff on a part-time basis. So all three of those programs are administered directly through basically through the federal government, through the finance department, and you can click on the link there to get more information on those programs to see if it's suitable or eligible for your business. And additional measures the federal government is taking. So all businesses are permitted to defer until August 31st payment of any income tax amounts that become owing on or after March 18th and before September 2020. No interest or penalties will accumulate during these periods. All businesses, including self-employed individuals, are permitted to defer DST and HST payments as well until June 30th. In addition, the Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance, the CECRA, I think they're pronouncing it, will seek to provide loans, including forgivable loans, to commercial property owners who in turn will lower or forgo the rent of small businesses for the months of April, May, and June. So again, an incentive for commercial landlords to provide more affordable rents to their commercial clients that may be still open, but are certainly seeing a downturn in volume in their business. Again, a link on the bottom there for those three programs. CUA specifically, so we have a financial assistance program which can be accessed through our website. So businesses and community organizations that deal with CUA may be eligible for up to an equivalent of 6 months payments on their current CUA commercial loan products. We're also able to offer extending amortizations on certain products by up to 6 months. And again, certain products and services, qualifying businesses can apply and may be eligible to increase the amount of their existing CUA loans by up to 10% of an existing approved amount, up to a maximum of $75,000. The best way to access this for a CUA member would be to contact our contact center, 492-6500, or speak to your account manager or emails there at info@cua.com. Okay, I'm also providing a slide here which has some key websites that you can access. So number one, our own website providing up-to-date information on available programs and resources as it relates to COVID-19 relief. And then there is the federal government's main website there for the economic response plan, as well as the provincial government's support for the relief program. So 3 good websites for information and that sort of thing.
Brad, we lost you in that last sentence.
Okay. I think it was all right, Patrick.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So that would conclude the presentation and get us into a question period here. Shaun and I have both provided our email addresses as well. So if you have any questions in regards to the slide, please reach out to either one of us.
Okay, I think I'm still on. Yep, I'm still on. So that's great. Thank you. You could probably lean back. We could stop looking at your shirt if you wanted to lean back a bit. There you go. Okay, you just have to lean in occasionally for the questions.
Okay, sounds good.
So I see Shaun has been answering some of the questions as we've gone along here. So thanks, Shaun. I did want to clarify one thing, and I have a few questions here that folks have forwarded in advance, but certainly folks can ask questions as we go along. But just a clarification, I know you replied, Shaun, that the small business loan guarantee, the CEBA, I think they were asking about the CEBA and when it would be available. You can now kind of send in your email address, right? And provide that, and so that you guys will get back to people as it's available.
Yeah, we have a webinar today in the afternoon, and we're expecting some more information to come out of that. Once we hear the latest details on the program, then we hope to be making a decision soon as to when to launch. So
okay,
we're running a couple of weeks behind where the banks are at because we weren't part of the initial rollout.
Okay. All right. Okay, great. So just to let everybody know, we're going to ask the questions kind of live and in person, but you can see at the bottom of your screen, I think there should be a Q&A box, and you can click on Q&A, and then you can ask the questions by typing them, and we'll be able to get through. So, because I see everyone's been using the chat function, which is fine. We can do that as well. which credit unions are doing the pilot for the business loans? Is it a pilot, or is it something else, Shaun or Brad?
I think Brad had mentioned a pilot. My understanding, the CEBA program, it's delivered through the Export Development Corporation. So clients would apply through their own institution, and then those institutions would compile all of the applications, process it through EDC, and then the financial institution would get funding from EDC and then disperse it to all of the applicants. So my understanding is all of this happens sort of in batches.
Right, and behind the scenes,
pardon?
Behind the scenes, it doesn't really matter to the business.
Yeah, your money will show up in your
Right.
account after your application has been approved and vetted. So what we would anticipate, and again, we're going to be communicating all of this to our members in a multiple step format, where the first step is we need all of your information. There's a number of attestation sort of questions they have to answer yes or no to make sure you qualify. There's a very small amount of information that we require from clients. So from my 25 years in commercial lending, this will be the simplest, quickest loan application you ever make. So it should be a fairly painless process. Now, so we would verify that all the information is complete, and then from our perspective, we need to send that batch of information to EDC to get the funding so we can distribute it. That latter part is the part that at this point we're uncertain how quickly it's gonna materialize.
Okay, all right.
So we can open up applications today, but if we can't fund them in a reasonable amount of time, then that's the part that we're looking into. We don't want people waiting around, expecting money and it's just not coming. So when we do make the announcement, we hope to have some more guidance around approximately how long it's going to take.
Okay, so and that kind of leads us to our first question here. So this person said, Barbara said, we just switched from B mode in March. We're now with the credit union. Can we apply for the business loan? I want to clarify that, but she said 40K, so I'm assuming that means it's the Canadian Emergency Business Account, so the CEBA loan. Can we, decision is pending on whether or not the credit unions are included. When will we know? They're definitely included.
Yeah. So,
yes, for sure. We will be offering it. The question is just how and when, and we hope to make that announcement very soon. So my understanding, the key date was March 1st. So wherever you had your account as of March 1st would be the key date. Now, if that person who said they switched to CUA in March, we maybe get them to send me an email, and we'll take that offline to figure out the best way to get them the loan.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we do have the emails just on the screen there for everybody. I'll get everybody who's on the line to kind of write those down if you'd like, because I'd like to kind of get rid of that screen eventually, so that we can make everybody's faces a little bit bigger when we get a chance. So just take note of Shaun and Brad's email, and they'll be happy to respond to you. A second question, although I have an answer for this, Shaun, if you don't, but.
Okay.
Could you please clarify about the $1,000 a month employees are able to get on top of the CERB if they're working to get the business ready for the high season? How does an employer, how to report that in wages, the employee's responsibility only, what the employer needs to report? Thank you. Do you have a comment on that? Because I do, if you don't.
Yeah, you're probably more of an expert on that program than what we would be.
Okay, well, my answer would be it's all about the employee. You just once an employee is on CERB, it's as if they've been laid off. So in some cases, a record of employment. Originally, a record of employment was required. it's no longer required. So people can apply without a record of employment. But it is the employee's responsibility to ensure they don't go over the 1,000. They are a laid off employee. So as an employer, you're responsible for, if you're going to pay them, if you're going to bring them back or get them to do some work, you're going to pay them. You should pay them whatever you pay them. It's not up to you to keep track of the $1,000. It is the employee's responsibility not to work for more than $1,000. That's certainly everything we've heard to this point. I like to clarify it because things are changing on a minute-to-minute basis. But as far as we're concerned, it is the employee's responsibility only. You can pay an employee, but again, the $1,000. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to get into some other questions here. So and I'm going to go back to the beginning. What's the difference between a bank and a financial institution like CUA?
So that's a good question. And just to be clear, so a credit union or a bank, they are both examples of financial institutions. So a financial institution is basically a company that provides financial services. So what's the difference between a credit union and a bank? Most credit unions are provincially regulated, whereas all banks are federally regulated. So why is that important, or why is that relevant? There are different types of rules and policies that do apply to each. A lot of it is the same. A lot of it's governed by the same, but there are some differences. The benefit of a provincially regulated institution is the rules and policies are all guided towards the Nova Scotia market, not the Canadian market as a whole. So that allows us as a company to be able to be more flexible, provide more flexible sort of products and services that are more applicable to the Nova Scotia market. So again, just to be clear, a credit union offers the same banking services that you'd get at any at any bank. Difference is just a little bit, it's just on how they're regulated.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Let's see. Collateral. Is there collateral required for CEBA?
So the understanding that we have on that is that you're required to provide a personal guarantee as well as a
Oh, remember, you got to point the other way there. Okay.
My understanding is you provide a personal guarantee as the business owner.
Yep.
And a general security agreement securing your business as the lender. Other than that, it's a government guaranteed program.
Okay, but the CEBA does have that benefit, and I know you alluded to it. I just like keep saying it. It does have the $10,000 forgivable portion, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And yes, and the the interest-free period as well, no payments period. So it's it's an attractive offer for sure.
Okay.
Patrick, it's probably a good point to mention to people that these government loan programs, they are business loans in the big scheme of things, right? So the government guarantee protects the financial institution. It's sort of the last layer of defense, and so a lot of times we find people get confused and they think the government is guaranteeing their business directly, and that means the person who owns the business doesn't have any guarantee because the government is there, and it's sort of a false impression that it's there to protect the owner. It's there to help the lending institution give out more money faster, is the main benefit. Okay,
great. I've got another question on the $1,000 relating to CERB and what if one is a director of a company and on CERB. And I'm just actually gonna just reiterate what I said a moment ago, which is I would separate those two things. So if someone has applied for CERB, they apply as an individual. They don't apply as an employee. They apply as an individual. If someone is paying them $1,000, they would need to declare that additional income. It is not the company's responsibility because you've had a separation between employee and company. Once the person goes on CERB, they're effectively laid off. Okay, so but now I can appreciate how this might be a little murky if you've laid off. If you are a self-employed individual and you may be getting director fees, that can get a little murky. I'm not going to try and get too much into that because I don't know that I would know all the ins and outs. But I would say, again, think of it as a separation. It is a separation. Once you are laid off, you're on CERB. Or if you are self-employed and have applied for CERB, you're an individual, you can earn up to $1,000. If you happen to earn it from your original company, I suspect that is up to you, but you should guard your action as an employee to make sure that you are declaring that $1,000. Okay. There's likely, I was going to say there's likely more information on the CERB webpage, but I suspect there's not. This is one of those things where just be, the worst case scenario is you need to be prepared to pay things back. Okay. So that is kind of the worst case scenario. So just be careful as you're applying for these things when there are questions that sound a little more difficult to answer. Okay, I don't think there are any absolutes right now. Sorry, back to there's a question: will you be offering any supports to clients outside of the government mandated programs? But the small business loan guarantee is a program that you offer every day.
Yes.
So I know you talked about that a little bit, but that program has existed. It continues to exist. You are able to borrow up to $500,000. That is not, and I think that's still the case, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So just tell me what's the part that the government's still, they're still waiting to provide you with some information, but what's the part they're waiting to provide you, and what's the part that still exists?
Yeah, so the COVID relief program specifically, which again is going to be, it sounds like CEBA is going to be sort of a smaller application, right? It's tied into specifically COVID relief. That program has not been officially finalized. We're waiting patiently on that. We were expecting the announcement sort of last week to happen. To do the tragic event in the weekend, it may be a little bit longer, but we're certainly, we're expecting that at some point. So the ongoing program.
Right, Brad. Remember, you got to lean to the right.
The ongoing program that we have offered on an ongoing basis is available and up and running, and it's a full loan application. But again, it's mostly designed for sort of equipment and leaseholds. Can be used for purchasing a business. Can be used for ongoing working capital needs for a business. So definitely a great program. We do a lot of business through it, and would be happy to discuss with anybody if that program is a good fit and if it's something available.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of folks don't, when we talk about the CEBA, there are qualifications for the CEBA. Some of those qualifications include you can't pay yourself. I don't think you're allowed to pay yourself dividends. You can't kind of just put it in and take it out for yourself. It is to help to run the business. So I think it's for rent, and it's for power, and it's for those kinds of things. So, there's always going to be a need for other loan programs. I think if people are saying they want to still get paid, or they want to pay employees or something. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, that's very fair. The other thing I would point out there, Patrick, is, especially around the COVID relief, we're really encouraging our members and clients. These are all loans. These are all repayable.
Right.
Look at the grants. Look at what's available for you. That's free first, because why not? If you can get money that's for relief that's not repayable, I'd be going after that first. So these programs are designed to help businesses with their needs, with their ongoing challenges. So the approach when looking at these loans is not just to look at what's going on currently in the market, but to look at the long-term, plan for your business and needs and requirements for your business.
Right. Okay. Okay, great. Another question. The federal government was offering personal guarantee, as noted by the minister in last week's meeting. Let's see, government guarantee. Why a need for a personal guarantee? So, and maybe you've already kind of addressed this, Shaun, but I guess I'm asking it again.
Yeah.
Why a need for a personal guarantee if the government's guaranteeing the money?
Yeah, ultimately, the government guaranteed programs are considered deficiency guarantees, and the expectation on the lending institution would be to, if the loan couldn't be paid back, then the expectation is you have to liquidate the corporate securities. So, if there's business assets that could be sold to pay the loan back, the expectation is, you're going after that first. The personal guarantees would be part of the mix. So again, the government guarantee is the final layer of defense for the financial institution to lend that money out. So it's a prime area where people get confused. They think that the government is giving the money to their business without any personal obligation to pay it back, and that is just not the case. Again, the role for the lending institution is we're going to deliver whatever programs the government wants to put in place, right? But in the end, if we're delivering them, they are loans. They're not grants. They're not a freebie. They are repayable, and you can see things both ways. I think the benefit for the government, this is a way to put more money out onto the street, and hopefully 80-90% or more of it gets paid back, as opposed to a grant where 100% of it doesn't get paid back. So this is a way to help more people, help more people survive.
Right. Okay. And I think, Brad, you did mention the provincial business impact grant, the small business impact grant, which is $5,000. Which, again, just to remind everybody, you have to apply by the 25th. I don't know when the 25th is, but pretty soon.
Very soon.
There you go. Pretty soon. So you need to apply by the 25th. That is only for companies that are were ordered to close, or their business was substantially curtailed. And I know I'm going to open a can of worms by explaining this a little bit, but substantially curtailed means restaurants were closed. If you were a company that cleans restaurants, your business was substantially curtailed. Okay. That's the only example I'm going to give, because that was the example I heard from the Deputy Minister of Business. So it is a bit murky on the substantially curtailed, but it link it back to the businesses that were ordered to close. Okay, that's the way to think about it. Some more questions. Credit card rates. Are you folks reducing credit card rates, or have you reduced credit card rates during this time?
So the answer is yes. So and just to be clear, our credit cards are offered through separate company policies, and this is their policies, right? And changes that they've made, but they have reduced interest rates. I can just give me a second here. I don't think I'm sharing my screen anymore, but I can just.
No, you're not. You're not.
What's that?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I just had some.
While you look that up, I'll ask another question.
Sure.
And that's deferring interest rates or payments on loans. Is that something that you're offering at this time as well?
Yes. So our financial assistance program did announce that we were offering up to 6 months of payment deferrals. So that would be principal and interest on mortgages, term loans, lines of credit.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay.
Okay, I'll jump back in here, Patrick.
Yeah, please,
yeah, so minimum payment deferrals and temporary interest reductions. So interest rates have been reduced to 10.9%. The offer may be eligible, up to 3 months for a total deferral period of 6 months on payments. They've also increased contactless payment limits. so that you can use your credit card for higher amounts without having to, punch in your PIN number. So up to $250 wherever merchants have enabled. There's an emergency temporary credit limit increase process as well that you can apply for. Now, this says that it's for Canadians who are currently outside of Canada and actively working to return to Canada. So includes coverage for airfare, car rentals, food, shelter, medical supplies, medications. So I'm not sure if that's probably applicable to anybody here on the call, but
Yeah.
That's what I've got here from the credit card company.
Okay, great.
And I should point out as well, every credit card company may have a different set of relief that they're providing. So I encourage you to reach out to your credit card company directly to find out what's available.
Okay. If I don't fit the government programs, what does CUA offer to help my business with cash flow during this pandemic?
Well, that's a really good question, Patrick, because some of these programs that are coming out, the purpose has been to identify the severe situation that many businesses face with being shut down or having business severely curtailed. So the challenge would be if you don't fit into those models, fitting into a traditional bank loan is probably going to be out of the cards. But I think what could happen is certain businesses may not fit the model because maybe they're not paying payroll. So you could have a successful business that doesn't fit the CEBA model because they're paying dividends instead of payroll. So there could be certain businesses where we can use a traditional loan product for, but the traditional test for that would be, does that business have the cash flow to pay the loan back in the long term? Right. So if we think this, and we have good confidence that the economy is going to bounce back, but no doubt there's going to be some headwind facing us. But if this was a type of business that had a good year in 2019 and the prospects look good for the next year, we would be open to talking with them to give them some traditional financing that didn't fit inside those programs. The ones that I worry about would be the people who have struggled in 2019 and the prospects to bounce back are further diminished because of the recession that may come in the future months. So yeah, those are going to be the harder ones to deal with.
Yeah, and I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head, which is the group that I'm still hearing from are the group that don't fit that salary parameter. Yeah. It's the folks that for well-intentioned reasons, their accountants have been telling them for years, you need to pay yourself through dividends, or whatever's left over. And as a, that's the problem. When we're looking at some of these programs.
So I would recommend certainly our Nova Scotia Loan Guarantee Program. The regular program doesn't care about payroll. The COVID relief stream, if that gets finalized, the wording that we've been hearing is it's using thresholds like under 50,000 in payroll. So that could be zero, correct? Right. So the language is going to be hopefully more flexible so that our program can fill the gap in the market that CEBA is creating.
I think that'll be a provincial program. Sorry, it'll have to be.
Yes, yeah. If assuming the provincial government approves a COVID relief program, right, the expectation is that it's going to fill a gap that the federal programs are not providing. So I'm assuming their goal is not to double up the CEBA. The goal is not to give everybody $80,000. The goal would be to look for pieces of the market where the CEBA doesn't qualify. So if you're a not-for-profit organization and you have zero payroll, CEBA is no good to you. Right. So the expectation is any new program would try to fill that gap. But again, this is just speculation until we see the final.
I think
program.
it's reasonably good speculation. I mean, I've been talking to government. In fact, I talk to government every 2 days and have been since mid-March, if not more. And certainly the feeling we're getting is that they want to fill the gap. The provincial government wants to fill the gap with CEBA. I think they'd hoped to have things out last week. And because of the change in CEBA from 50 to 20,
yeah,
you needed to kind of reconsider things. I'm just going to ask you the question that I have here from somebody. I'm a self-employed professional client of CUA for several years, no payroll, so no qualification for CEBA, looking to proactively increase the limit on my existing line of credit. Do I have to complete a credit application in this case, or is there some leniency on the application?
Yeah, so part of the financial assistance program that we announced was you know, a streamlined application process. For example, if you needed a small increase, so I think we referenced 10% up to 75,000. So the idea would be, how can we quickly and easily get some additional money out to people? Now, if you need a lot more than 10% or a lot more than 75,000, there would be a credit application. However, if your annual review was just done in December, chances are the file would be up to date and we could move fairly quickly on that. So I would just encourage the person to get in touch with their account manager or myself, and we'll coordinate looking after that.
Okay, great. And just a reminder that in the chat box, we've still got Brad's email and Shaun's email as well, so easy to find. I'm just going to ask a couple of, I think maybe one more question actually, because we get closer to the top of the hour. Do I have to be a CUA client to access the federal or provincial programs from CUA?
No, you don't. You don't have to be a client to apply. Sorry, let me back up here. You do have to be a client to apply for the federal one, because that has to be done at your primary institution as of March 1st. Right. You don't have to be a current CUA client or member to apply for the provincial program. However, having any product would make you a member of CUA or a credit union. So if you applied and were approved, then you would become a member of the credit union. And, of course, we would look at other products and services that might be suitable for you. And, we'd love to have your full banking relationship, but that's, that's not required either. You can access that program without being a current member.
I think it's okay, Brad, to make a bit of a pitch for business. I mean, that's why you're here, right?
Well, that was it.
Yeah. I think that's okay.
So that's a good news message too, right?
Yeah. Yes. So is there anything that I can ask you guys to wrap up with? Is there anything that you'd like to say finally, as you've heard some of the questions and things today?
Sure. Yeah. It's again, I know it's a difficult time for a lot of business owners. I sympathize with a lot of business owners. Everybody's affected differently, so it's hard sometimes to put a one-size-fits-all solution in place. It's really important to talk to your account manager and try to figure out what options are available. Talk to your bank if that's who you deal with currently. Talk about your situation. When I speak to my clients, the first thing I want to know is, what's going on? What's going on with the business? What are you seeing? Really try to understand how it's being impacted. The government programs are fluid right now, but we should have clarity somewhat soon on what's available and what can be offered. But again, the message that I have would be to try to keep in touch and specifically focus on the needs of yourself and your business.
Okay, great. Okay. All right. Well, with that, then I think I will wrap things up. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you all for attending. So Brad, you'll be able to provide that deck and we can get that out to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you for asking questions, folks. We're hosting more and more webinars every day and every week. So thank you very much. We have programs on access to capital, not-for-profits, specifically on not-for-profits, and maybe especially this week, mental health. Lots of things for you to think about. Please head to the halifaxchamber.com/events for a full lineup. We've also recorded this webinar, and it will be available to all attendees shortly after on our YouTube channel. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you very much to Shaun and Brad. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon in person, and look forward to seeing everyone at the next webinar. Okay?
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye now.
Take care, everyone.